Hi, Craig Uranic, and I want to talk about entering data from a table into your calculator so that we can use that data to create a linear regression equation. So I'm going to be talking about problem number 15 on page 72 of your text. You can see the data there. The first thing I want you to observe is that it says that we are going to take a look at the years since 1900. So therefore, the first data that we're going to enter is going to begin not at year 1970, but we will use 70 as our input. To enter the data from the table into the calculator, we will use the Stat button. And from there we will be doing Edit. We will use Calculate to calculate the line of best fit. So just simply press Enter here. If there's values already, we can clear them as follows. You would use the up arrow. Once you're on L2, you use the Clear button. And then just press Enter. To clear the values in L1, up and over, clear, and enter. Now we're ready to enter our information. So year 70, then enter, 75, enter, etc. Notice that when we get to the year 2000, since that's since 1900, that will be 100 years. To enter the information into column 2 or L2, we just use the right arrow and it automatically goes to the top. So then just go ahead and enter that information, 10.7, etc. From there, we are ready to calculate our line of best fit. So once again, we will hit the Stat key. But instead of editing the table, we will go to a calculation. Now, we will be using several this term. However, right now we are calculating a line of best fit for a line. It's called regression when we use the calculator to generate an equation, and this is called a linear regression because we're generating a linear equation. From this point, your calculator needs 3 pieces of information. Number 1, where are the input or x values located? We put them under that table under L1. To get to L1, it's right over the 1 key here, and so therefore we'll have to hit second, then L1. The next piece of data, by the way, we use commas to separate this. The next piece of data was the output or y value that was located in the table under L2. So you'll hit second and then the 2 key, which is the L2. Finally, the last piece of information the calculator needs is where do I store the information after I calculate the equation? And we will use the vars key for that. We will use yvars and function. So I press enter there. This is just a list similar to what you would see under the y equals key when you look at a function, and you could store it under the first one, second, etc. We will probably almost always store it under the first. So press enter here. There's our 3 pieces of information the calculator needs. It has not generated the equation yet, however. We need to press enter here. Once you see this information, that is the equation calculated. So the equation is y equals 0.773x minus 43.175. Now that is under the y equals key. I do want to tell you, if you get an error at this point, simply use the clear button, clear this away, and begin with Stat once again. Just go to calculate and start over again. You will see that If you press the y equals, that our equation is there. A third thing you might want to be able to do once you have your equation is you might want to make a prediction or even check your equation to see if it makes sense. And to do that, I prefer the table button right here. But before we use that to enter values into our equation, we first need table set to be set to the correct settings. By default, it is on auto, so for the independent or X value. So you will have to make sure that the independent or X value is under ask. Once you have that, you can hit second or press second and table, and you can enter values. For example, to check this, I might enter a 70 and see if I get approximately the 10.7, which I do. 2005, I could enter a value there, which would be 105. And I get very close to my 36.8. From there, we can even make estimates. We could estimate how much you would get in 2010 by entering 110. And there would be that estimate. So to me, that is the easiest way that we can enter values into the equation and find out what the y values or the dependent values are. So let's summarize. In order to generate this equation, we found we had to use stat. And the first thing we had to do was enter the table data into it, and that was through edit. And that gave us this table. We cleared it with the up arrows and clear button. Second step. The second step was to use stat as well to generate the actual equation. However, instead of edit, we went to calculate. Under calculate, we found that we are going to be able to generate a number of different equations depending on what kind of an equation, a linear or a line equation, a quadratic, a cubic, etc. And so we select which one, and then we go ahead and calculate it. If you have errors, we have to clear it. And finally, the easiest way to enter values, input values into the equation is through the table command. But table set must be turned on. There you have it. However, to get this down, you will need to practice, practice, practice. You'll have to keep doing this over and over and over until it becomes second nature. So there you are. Good luck, and don't forget to practice.